What drives a person to commit an act of terror against innocence in a place of worship? This is the unsettling question that emerges when we delve into the story of the Charleston church shooting in 2015. The person at the center of this chilling event is Dylann Roof, an American man whose actions shook the world. What could possibly lead to such a horrific act of violence? What could motivate a person to take 9 innocent lives in a sacred place of fellowship and faith? In the next few minutes we will delve into the life of Dylann Roof and the events that led up to this horrific incident. Dylann Storm Roof, born in 1994, had a childhood marked by trouble and turbulence. His life, from the very beginning, was a tumultuous journey that would eventually lead him down a path of unimaginable violence. The environment that surrounded Roof during his formative years did little to foster stability or a sense of belonging. His upbringing was fraught with difficulty as he navigated a home life that was far from ideal. The turbulence that marked his childhood was a precursor to the behavioral issues that would become evident as he grew older. As Roof transitioned into adolescence, his behavior became increasingly concerning. He was frequently in trouble, both at school and within his community, for a variety of infractions that hinted at a deeper, more troubling issue. His inability to conform to societal norms was evident in his frequent brushes with authority. Roof's troubling behavior was not limited to his interactions with authority figures. He also developed a history of drug possession, further cementing his reputation as a troubled youth. His involvement with illicit substances was a clear indication of his disregard for the law and a disturbing sign of his inability to make sound decisions. In addition to his drug-related offenses, Roof had a history of trespassing. His disregard for property rights and personal boundaries was a clear indication of his lack of respect for others. This, coupled with his drug-related activities, painted a picture of a young man spiraling out of control. Yet, despite his troubled past, Roof managed to maintain a certain level of secrecy surrounding his activities. His ability to hide his true intentions from those around him allowed his dangerous ideologies to fester unchecked. This secrecy, along with his troubled past, would play a significant role in the tragic events that were to follow. It was clear that Dylann Roof was a troubled individual, but no one could have predicted the violent path he would eventually take. As Roof grew older, his views began to take a dark and dangerous turn. A transformation was taking place, a metamorphosis that would see him evolve from a troubled youth into a harbinger of hate. Roof's worldview started to skew towards the sinister and the extreme, fueled by a toxic mix of misinformation, prejudice, and a sense of disillusionment. The internet, with its labyrinthine alleys of unchecked information, became his guide and mentor. It was here that he found validation for his burgeoning white supremacist views. Online communities of like-minded individuals reinforced his prejudices, further isolating him from the reality of a diverse world. His behavior too began to change. The signs were subtle at first but grew more noticeable and alarming over time. He started to espouse racist views openly, unafraid of the potential consequences. His social interactions became increasingly marked by bigotry, and he began to distance himself from those who did not share his extremist beliefs. Roof's activities online gradually grew more dangerous. His internet searches became a reflection of his chilling intentions, as he sought out information on hate crimes, white supremacist ideologies, and methods of violence. His digital footprint was a trail of breadcrumbs that pointed towards the impending storm, but went largely unnoticed. His troubling behavior wasn't confined to the virtual world. He began to trespass on properties, a behavior that was a clear violation of the law, yet it was dismissed as a minor offense. His drug possession charges were also overlooked, creating an environment where his deviant behavior was not adequately addressed. These warning signs, these red flags, were there for all to see. But the true depth of Roof's violent intentions, the full extent of the hatred that was brewing within him, remained hidden. It was a ticking time bomb, waiting to explode, its deadly impact underestimated and its trigger ignored. Despite the warning signs, the magnitude of Roof's violent intentions remained hidden until it was too late. On June 17, 2015, Dylann Roof committed an act of terror that would shock the nation. On this ill-fated day, Dylann Roof, a 21-year-old with a troubled past and a deep-seated hatred, walked into the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Known as Mother Emmanuel, this historic church has been a beacon of hope and a symbol of the African American community's resilience. Roof was not a stranger to the churchgoers. He had been to the church a few times before, and on this day, he joined them for an evening Bible study. As they welcomed him into their midst, little did they know of the malevolent intentions lurking beneath his calm facade. As the Bible study progressed, the churchgoers, engrossed in their spiritual discourse, remained oblivious to the imminent danger. Roof, meanwhile, was biding his time, waiting for the right moment to unleash a horrific act of violence that was premeditated and coldly calculated. When the moment came, Roof drew a weapon and began firing indiscriminately, his actions driven by an unfathomable hatred. Amid the chaos and confusion, 9 African-American churchgoers were gunned down. Their lives were brutally cut short in a place they considered a sanctuary, a place where they had sought solace and peace. In the wake of the shooting, the church was plunged into a state of shock and grief. The vibrant voices that once filled the church with songs of worship were now replaced with cries of despair. The community was left grappling with the harsh reality of an act of terror that stemmed from racial hatred. The aftermath of the shooting saw a manhunt for Roof, who fled the scene shortly after the massacre. Roof was apprehended the next day in North Carolina, and his subsequent trial revealed his intentions to incite a race war, a chilling testament to his twisted ideology. As the nation grappled with the tragedy, the families of the victims and the Charleston community demonstrated an incredible strength. Their resilience in the face of adversity served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of love and unity over hate. In a matter of minutes, 9 lives were tragically cut short and a community was left in mourning. In the wake of the shooting, the nation was left to grapple with the horrifying reality of Roof's actions. Dylann Roof's heinous act had not only left 9 innocent lives brutally extinguished, but also imprinted a deep scar on the collective consciousness of the community and indeed the entire nation. The shockwaves of his actions reverberated across the country, sparking widespread debates on race relations, gun control, and the destructive power of hate. In the immediate aftermath, Roof was apprehended by law enforcement officials, marking the beginning of a lengthy and complex legal process. His trial was a spectacle of chilling revelations as the courtroom heard detailed accounts of his racially motivated rampage. The prosecution painted a vivid picture of a deeply disturbed individual, radicalized by racial hatred and intent on igniting a race war. In a just society, such actions cannot go unpunished. Roof was duly convicted on federal charges and sentenced to death. Later, he pleaded guilty to state charges, earning him life in prison without parole. His sentencing, while expected, served as a cold comfort to those left in the wake of his destruction. The incident left an indelible impact on the community. The members of the Charleston church, although deeply wounded, showed remarkable resilience and unity. They held steadfast in their faith and love for one another, even in the face of such hatred and violence. Their strength served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring power of community and compassion over hate. Nationwide, the incident sparked a renewed urgency for discussions on race relations and gun control. It served as a stark reminder that hatred, when left unchecked, can have devastating consequences. It urged the nation to confront the uncomfortable reality of racism and racial violence and to take steps toward healing and reconciliation. Dylann Roof's actions on that fateful day serve as a stark reminder of the destructive power of hate. His story is a chilling testament to the evil that can arise from ignorance and intolerance, but equally it underscores the resilience of communities and the power of love and unity in the face of adversity. The story of Dylann Roof is a chilling tale of radicalization and violence. This narrative has taken us on a journey through his troubled upbringing, his descent into hate, and his heart-rending act of violence in the Charleston church shooting. We've seen the devastating aftermath of his actions, etching into our minds the importance of addressing signs of radicalization and hate. We must strive to understand, to educate, to prevent. As we reflect on this tragic event, we are reminded of the importance of unity, understanding, and compassion in the face of hate.